and welcome to Oakville Matters. Today, let's take a trip down memory lane and look at the old days of Oakville Arena and wind up looking at the future in just a year of the new Oakville Arena. And with us to do that are, starting from the far end of the table, we have Chris Kowalchuk, who's a member of the West River Association of Residents, and Michael Brennan, who's the Senior Manager of Recreation Services here in the town of Oakville. And we have Vic Hadfield, former NHL player, owner of Hadfeild Golf and Learning Center, and a one-time rink rat who grew up across the street from the arena when it was building. And Vic, can I suggest that the Oakville Arena might have inspired you to get into hockey?
Well, you know, as kids, we all wanted to play hockey. You know, we're from Canada. The Leafs were our favorite team. And that's all I ever wanted to do. And the bunch of the kids that we all hung out around there, we did little jobs. And now, you know, we're only 12, 13, 14 years of age.
It's a good age to start.
Yeah, that's, we used to play road hockey and get as much ice as we possibly could. We used to get some free ice time if we scraped the ice after a Saturday night skate. And so our parents knew where we were, and again, it was those are the things you just do not forget.
That was the real small town village lifestyle of Oakville. 2,500 people, something like that.
Yes, it was very. I mean, even on Kerr Street and the Queenie, it was just a stoplight. There was no overpass, and I can remember riding my bike up to the Jesuit fathers, delivering groceries to them. So. Very impressive years, and Oakville gave us a lot to be very proud of.
And Chris, I think ever since I've known you, you've been playing in beer leagues in that arena. Not other arenas too, but mostly Oakville Arena.
Yeah, Oakville Unstars actually was started by Steve Anderson, a guy who went to Purdue. And it's evolved over the years since the late 70s of just, you know, a pickup league. It was a 4-team league once, but to this day we closed out Oakville Arena. We had a group of guys, and some guys were, you know, late 50s, and they'd played there since, you know, two brothers alone, the Kilburn brothers, had 100 years between them. And it's been a part of Oakville as long as I've been here. I grew up playing hockey. I'm wearing my brother's Blades jersey, which, hey, Vic, the Oakville colors used to be, we were talking green and yellow before Vic played for the Rangers, and that's when Oakville got the Rangers colors, right, Rick?
Yes, yeah, that's one of the times you're right. So we, that's called the Oakville Rangers, and that's when.
So, Mike, the way I heard the story. Oakville was considered to be, the town fathers thought that Oakville was too small to have an arena. The guys come home from the war full of beans because you know, they've won a world war, and they go, we want an arena. And when they were told no, they said, well, to heck with that, we'll build one anyway. How much of that history do you know?
Well, I do know that there was a particular architect in Ontario, Hipple was his last name, and he designed a very straightforward sort of barn-like structure that was used across Ontario. And people who came home from the war, there was money raised in the community, and that's how the structures were built. And there are only 4 left in Ontario now, and Oakville has one of them.
Well, I will never forget. So I spent 12 years in that arena, coaching and convening for the minor hockey. And I thought it was a fine historic edifice. And sort of the second or third day that I was mayor, somebody, I don't remember who now, on the town staff took me on a little tour of the foundations, well, of the whole arena. But when they got to, the foundations were kind of hidden away behind a locked door I'd never been through before. And there they were, just corroded to hell. And I said, I'll never forget saying to the person who was conducting me through it, can we have the rest of the meeting outdoors? So I'm thrilled that I was terrified it was going to fall down before we could fix it. So what's it going to be like? Actually, we have some pictures here of the old days. Let me ask Jessica to put up photo number 1, which is a shot that's still familiar to people that were using it in the modern day, and it's the entrance to the old arena. There you go. That's exactly what it looked like the last time I went there. Now it's unrecognizable now because all that's left is the rafters on the inside. If you were to jump to can you jump to number 5?
Vic, is that how you remember it, like that?
Very much so. I was in and out of that front door, I'll tell you a lot.
So we may or may not jump to picture number 5, but if we did, you would see all that's left, which is there you go. That's what's left, and that's what we're preserving, so that famous roof Michael was just talking about remains. And if we can go back to, can we shift to number 2 now?
I just want to speak to that because
go ahead.
People ask me questions like I actually got elected. But I had no idea, but I just asked Michael, and the underside of that is being kept as well. A lot of people are under the impression, because in the renderings online, it implies that may not have been kept, but the underside of the wood, which will really give it sort of that warm up the space, to be sure. I mean, that's, like I said, a big part of it for the people who kind of grew up playing there was to keep the integrity of the original structure, because there aren't, you're playing in a tin box a lot of times now and not an old arena.
So this is a view of the building as she'll be opened next year, and off to the left there is where the arena is. And can we go to number 2?
And that's what's nice about that is, like, that's amazing, that shot.
Go to number 2. This here is another shot of the new arena, and you can see the old roof expressed there in the back. This is actually quite a big deal if you think about it. We went down to see a few years ago, I went down to see another one of the surviving Hippo roofs in Tilsonburg. And unlike here, they put a big square steel shed over the whole thing. So this is, and I was told back then, and that's the only thing you can do. So a whole lot of engineering cleverness has been exercised here in order to keep our let me call it, heritage shape.
So the new part comes out to Kerr Street.
Yeah.
Fire station on the corner.
There will actually be a fire station right on the corner of Kerr,
right on
Rebecca, but the community center will extend from the arena east towards Kerr and add an additional 25,000 square feet.
So that what we're seeing there on that front corner, that's the actual part of the rec center. The actual fire is separate.
Correct.
Thank you.
If we look at the site plan picture, that'll help give everybody a better sense of where the parts are. And there you go. So as you can see, we got Kerr running north-south here, and you can see the arena, the fire hall, the rec center. And if we go to the Pine Room shot, we can have a little bit of a time trip back to the old days. Many a community event was held here.
There you go.
And if you go to the Square Dancing Festival, you can see that back in the day, the arena was used for more than just hockey. Because now they're not square dancing on ice, although the floor does look shiny.
Yeah.
Well, that one guy looks like Chris.
And then there's an interior shot of the arena that's set up for ice. That comes right after that, Jessica.
Didn't we also? It was Shrimp Fest, Kiwanis, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was the only hall in town.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And actually, I found
there
out
you go.
We did Muay Thai. There was a fight back there back 2000.
So this picture's got to be from when the seats weren't busted. Because in my 12 years in there, the seats were hit and miss. Some worked and some didn't.
The seats work, and the reason I know that is I got 6 for sale at my house. So
you got the 6 good ones.
They were actually in pretty good shape, but it is.
Well, they used to have figure skating competitions.
Yes.
The ice show. They decorate.
Okay, Jessica. We probably have done the pictures for all they're worth.
Yeah.
So now, Michael, tell us more about how we came up with this final design and what all's going to be in it, because there's a heck of a lot more now than there ever was before.
Absolutely. The process started quite some time ago. As you know, there was a lot of commitment and passion by the people in the South Central area, and particularly those in the Kerr community, who definitely made it clear to us that they wanted to preserve the old arena, but they were in need of more. While they thought of Oakville Arena and the Pine Room and the amenities outside as their community hub, they really wanted to have additional amenities that could help them in the future. So included will be a full-size gymnasium, and we will preserve, it won't be the old Pine Room, but there will be a facility called the Pine Room of a very similar size, as well as relocating the Kerr Street Senior Center to this location. So there'll be some dedicated space for seniors. And we're looking at about a 65,000 square foot community center that will accommodate the needs of all ages. So we're very excited about that. There will also be a fitness center and a running track, which were added on at Council's direction.
Now, do I remember correctly that we're doing a few things outside that aren't there now as well?
We are going to include Oakville's first outdoor artificial skating rink. And I've been around for a while, and we've been trying to do this since Butterfly Park in Bronte, but now it's actually going to be a reality, and we will have an outdoor rink there, which we're very excited about.
And I can tell you the community is really excited about that. My only regret at that is another outdoor box rink, because like I say, is you can always pleasure skate on a box rink, but you can't play hockey on a pleasure rink. But we are really excited about it, and I know that the economies of scale for the town, it's better to have 2 pads instead of 1 because you need the infrastructure. So, I mean, it'll be a great addition to the neighborhood. In the West River community, the board, I'm just a member of the Residents Association, but the board and a committed group of neighbors have kept 2 outdoor rinks going in the Forster Park rink, and I know it's a lot of work, and it's hit or miss, and a lot of work goes into it whether they are able to do it or not. So to have this in the neighborhood, so the kids in the local community could walk to it, as well as, you know, I mean, there is a component of, you know, affordable housing and rentals and apartment buildings, and a lot of young families who don't necessarily have access to the other amenities in town, and it's something that they can walk to. So the fact that they're putting more in there, I know it's the community is excited about it.
Well, I know that we've got outdoor, you know, natural ice, volunteer mom and dad maintained ice all over town, and we like to tease Councillor Dave Giddings about how he maintains too many. Like, I don't think the guy ever sleeps, but he's out flooding rinks in the middle of the night, you know, like it was yesteryear. Yeah. And I guess it is. So, so Vic, when you were growing up across from the arena, I guess you didn't have to. I guess you didn't have any complaints about how long it took you to get to the ice.
No, it was right across the park, and we couldn't get over there fast enough. There was about 8 or 10 of us that really hung out together, school chums, and we'd get over there as quick as we could. And it's funny because we went to Westwood School, which is the Lions. We all went to school there, and so if we had the ice after school, so it would be just after 4 o'clock, we used to go home and have lunch, put all of our hockey equipment on except our skates, sit in the classroom all afternoon with our hockey gear on, so we could get over, and all we had to do was put our skates on to get that extra 2 or 3 minutes of ice. It was, so again, those are the things that you don't forget. Those types of things that happened when you were growing up.
Well, you know, I think if the kids in my teams had come already dressed, they might have gone further in hockey.
Well, Murray Hall, who played in Detroit, Vancouver, Minnesota. Well, we grew up together, and Murray just lived across the street from me. And again, we were always over at the arena. We were there when they were building it. And for some reason, when they had the beams up, Murray decided he wanted to climb up. And he got up on top and he fell.
Oh my God.
All the way from the top. And I can always remember, I was a little bit bigger than Murray. He was laying there, and I picked him up, put him over my shoulder, and took him home, put him in bed. Again, you don't forget
oh God,
those,
how could you forget that?
Yeah.
And he survived strong enough to go and play in the show.
And played, and
he's still around. He actually, I see him on a regular basis because he has, once in a while, have the odd pop down at Emma's. Murray
He has
Muzz.
his own seat there.
I'm not touching that. That's free between.
I can say that because Murray doesn't watch TV.
So,
Yeah.
how is the construction going, Mike? Are we remotely on time?
We are very much on schedule. All the site servicing has been done. The foundations have been poured and put in place. And beginning next week, we will start to see structural steel being put up for both the fire hall and the community center and arena. So we're very much on schedule. We'll be ready for the opening of the hockey season in 2018.
Fantastic. You know, I've over the last 11 years, we've built a lot of things in this town, a lot of facilities, 800,000 square feet of ice and soccer and every kind of thing. Always on time, always on budget. So I live in terror that that record's going to be broken, so please don't.
We will keep that record intact.
Well, I can tell you the Oakville Unstars are looking forward to Thursday night at 10 o'clock at the new rink. I can tell you that.
I love the name, the Unstars.
Yeah, I wish I could have pulled the jersey out of theirs because it's the guys who didn't get the contract signed. Yeah, but it's a good group of guys, all who grew up playing hockey in Oakville. The irony is you know, Oakville has the program where if all the residents are from Oakville, you get a bit of a break, I think, on it. Ironically, all these guys were born in Oakville, but being my age, even back then, you know, the cost of housing, people tend to move out and they live in Burlington or, you know, Etobicoke or Waterdown, but they all come back to Oakville to play hockey on Thursday nights.
So, Michael and Vic and Chris, one of the things that used to amaze me as a user was the odd shape of the rink. And are we restoring the odd shape, the non-regulation size, or are we going with, what are we going with?
Well, when we started the process several years ago, we did talk to minor hockey and to all of our ice users, and they were quite adamant that they would prefer an NHL-sized arena. So actually there will be one additional gable put onto the rink, another 14 feet, that will accommodate a full-size NHL rink. So we're happy about that, as were the ice users.
And it'll still have the heritage look then.
Sorry.
Amazing.
It'll still have the heritage look. As the heritage component of that facility, the consultants that we work with said, we want you to continue the story. We want you to preserve the history, but continue the story. So the last bay that we'll construct will not look like the old rink. So we'll be able to be a distinction between what was old and what is new, but it'll be able to accommodate a full-size NHL rink.
Well, that reminds me, Harry Barrett, who's sort of the pope of historic and heritage preservation in our town, former Mayor Harry Barrett, told me that the key principle he's pushed is that additions shouldn't look like copies of heritage. That would somehow cheapen the heritage. So you mark the heritage, you keep that part distinct. I do remember that now that you mentioned that.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I do want to speak to that. Though, as a 50-plus user group who still plays hockey, we're a mixed reaction to playing in an NHL rink because some of us like the small rinks, and we might end up going back to Canoke in a couple of years because playing on the big ice is a bit of a stretch. Because, like you say, with the old and the new, now we have guys' sons coming out in their 20s and early 30s, and they're good on the big ice, but we're like chasing around like puppies. Yeah.
So the concept of, well, I have two bits for you. When we were opening the Olympic rink up at 16 Mile, I persuaded the folks that owned the Blades at the time that it would be advantageous to them to turn the Olympic ice into their home ice, because the boys would have better legs than the teams they played, who would only have NHL ice to train on and play on, and they'd have a small edge when they were playing at home, I said. And they believed me, and they actually told me a couple of years later, it may be working out like you said, because we are doing better at home ice. And then for the Unstars, what we used to tell the kids when I was coaching was, up and back and off.
Well, you know, Chris, you're talking about age. Why don't you slip over to ice to ice on Spears? They've got the small little, small little
If you
rink.
played those 3 and 3, it's worse.
That'd
You
be,
never stop moving. That's
that
even
would be
worse.
great. That'd be great for you guys.
Well, if up and back and off is too much, you can just do up and off.
No, but those 3 on 3 rinks, they're even harder to play on because you never stop moving. It's
Jamie Allison has that.
Yeah.
He owns that.
Don't play 3 on 3.
Yeah, 5-on-5 for the small rink. Yeah, that's an idea. After we moved from Canoke in our 70s, I guess.
Sorry, Chris, I had to say that.
No, I appreciate it.
So,
I'm disappointed you didn't jersey me yet, to be honest.
well, maybe we should change. What are we going to call this this new installation?
Well, we've settled on Trafalgar Park Community Center.
We can't call it Jersey Park.
No, but we will certainly make sure that there is a reference to Oakville Arena on the interior where you're entering into the arena. We'll make sure that that's preserved, and actually, there will be. I wouldn't call them display. They're like display cases, not trophy cases. But the history of Oakville Arena will be captured and presented in those display cases, so everybody will get a sense of what the Oakville Arena was like in the past. We will certainly have one of the benches that were there, and a lot of memorabilia that goes along with that. So the history will be preserved.
And am I over-describing it if I say there's going to be a firefighting museum? What's the fire heritage thing?
The fire hall that's at the corner of Kerr and Rebecca will also be the home for the 1948 pumper truck, as well as all the memorabilia and heritage of the Oakville Fire Department will be brought to that one location, and it will be used as the focal point. If you're bringing children in to hear about the Oakville Fire Department and fire safety, all of the memorabilia will be captured there in one location. So we're very happy about that, as are the firefighters.
So does that mean the fire prevention office is moving to there? Because I think they're running out of a trailer now, aren't they, almost? Or
I don't think fire prevention will be housed there, but certainly all the memorabilia from firefighters of past will be there.
Well, the 48 pumper and the original Oakville Arena are pretty much contemporaries, so they belong together.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think holds? What do you think the future holds for this arena? Any more NHL stars going to come out of it, Vic?
Well, I think it's they've done a tremendous job as far as making the availability of ice to the kids, and I think they've set up programs that these young kids, even though they're 12, 13 years of age, are working out year-round if they have the interest to want to play. Not necessarily in the NHL, but I mean, it's you can go on to college and get scholarships down in the States and here in Canada too. But I think the availability of having those surfaces there for them is, and look at the town is growing like mad. More and more people coming into town, and my little grandson, he's only 16, but those kids they're so anxious to do well, play well, get an education. That's one of the most important things, and have the opportunity to play hockey.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of people go to the NHL out of Oakville. Do you think it's the water? There has to be at least half a dozen.
Oh, easily.
Easy, I guess. I
think, to be honest, as someone who didn't have sons in the system, but from what I've seen, it's you need to have the means to, if you're living in the apartment buildings on Kerr and you're, and you can play hockey, like that's one thing about when we had the neighborhood rink, and one nice thing about the outdoor rink is, a lot of people who don't necessarily have the opportunity. And in our neighborhood, you're talking about Oakville is growing in spades. I know for us, we know there's so much growth in the north that we really wanted to keep something in the south, because we're disproportionately becoming less a part of, what Oakville as a whole is, and we wanted to have that because our community traditionally has been, people that. But in terms of, people going on to bigger opportunities, I think if you have the strong family support and the ability to play hockey at a high level, which isn't an inexpensive pursuit, that's one of the things of living in an affluent community affords.
See, the thing is, too, as kids growing up, we had Bud Corbett from Corbett Sports. Without Bud, there would have probably been that sports in the town, because he helped run the hockey, the baseball. That was all Bud.
And after him, I know my brother's era, it was Comet, Pool and Sports. I was looking for a jersey, with his name on it.
Ken Brown.
Yeah,
they were the ones that gave us, a lot of the opportunity, because if I had to go and play a game out of town, my father was working. Well, how am I going to get there? Well, pile all in the back of Bud's van. I can still picture his van, and away we go. Yeah. And so now the the opportunity is there for the kids, and it's great to see them having fun. That's why I always talk to my grandson. I said, look, I don't want to hear about, did you get any goals or did you get any assists? I said, I want to know if you had fun. He says, oh yeah, Gramp, I had fun. So that's the main thing, and then they can take it to wherever they want to go with it. It's that's available there.
And something that maybe a lot of people don't know, but the Minor Oaks Hockey Association, or Oakville Rangers as they're now called, they will certainly accommodate people who do not have the means to play. They don't advertise it, but there's a lot of that goes on, very much to their credit.
Yeah, when I was on the board is when we created the President's Fund to do exactly that. And before that, what would happen would be anytime there was a team that had a kid who needed help, everybody would quietly, without calling any attention to it, just provide and make sure. It was just like what Vic just described. People would just pool together. Hockey's a real pull it together team kind of sport.
You still see that happening today, where a young fella just cannot afford to be able to play, and I've seen it with my own eyes. A couple of the fathers, they get together and go and get him the skates, or what does he need, just some sticks or whatever. Well, so it's great.
You bought a stick lately?
But it is I think a really important part of our national character, that cooperation that we show each other, that starts in kids hockey, and has carried through the generations ever since the start of Oakville. I mean, I'm sure before Oakville Arena, but for our town, which didn't really start growing until 1952 when the Ford came.
Well, that's one thing that I found.
We've been a skyrocket since then.
Well, we've been playing at Canoke because Oakville Arena is closed, and there's the minor hockey games before us. And like you say, I find that particularly new Canadians, the ones who come to Oakville, they come here and they want to be Canadian, and playing hockey is part of being Canadian. And I hate to say it, but I'm not on, I don't have cable at home. I'm on antenna. So when I came home and the playoff game wasn't on and I didn't have my computer set up to stream it, the Punjabi station, the local station, they had the game on. And I thought, what a great country we live in, that, I was going to miss the end of the hockey game, but I had it on my antenna.
Well, we're going to miss the end of this show, I think, because we're about to run out of time. I want to thank you for tuning in and sharing memories and the future of the Oakville Arena, and I hope to see you next time on Oakville Matters.